Hey buddies, Speakers to Man 2000, and welcome back to some more Donkey Kong Country Returns, and we're heading straight into World 8. We did a lot of stressful levels, and a lot of people would say these levels are probably more stressful in the long run, but I don't care that much. World 8's pretty awesome, so let's get started. I do not have a Diddy. Okay. So, there just happens to be a factory right next to a volcano. Seems legit. So, these enemies you can blow out if you need to with the blowing mechanic, and then there's these weird things. World 8 is probably one of the greatest worlds in the whole game. It's really good. Its levels are kind of blend together in a way, kind of like World 5's, but it's way more difficult, and the levels, I remember them much more for like how darn difficult they are. And this one in particular, oh jeez. You basically have these giant potaboos just flying around, taking out everything, and you basically have to just dodge your way around them. There's no good way of actually avoiding them. You just have to stay out of their way. Sometimes you can duck under them. These ones get even more annoying when you don't get the chance to actually blow them out. Sometimes you have to crash, but then you get crushed by another enemy anyways, so yeah, it's a hard level to say the least. A lot of ducking involved. Get ready for your down button to hurt, and your thumb to also hurt from holding down so much. So there's just really hard challenges like that jump there. Since you can't blow out the enemy from a distance, you have to roll and try to avoid them while landing, because there's no way to kill them. Oh jeez. Okay. This puzzle piece is one of the worst things ever. Okay, there we go. Luckily, puzzle piece wise and like 100%ing wise, this isn't too hard of a world. It has probably the easiest K level in the game, which is very strange, but it just does. So, and the Kong letters are pretty easy to find. There's only like one puzzle piece or bonus room. It probably has one of the harder bonus rooms to find in the game, but other than that, there's not much, to be completely honest. And there's a lot of fire enemies, so just be prepared to use your tiny little breath to blow out the lava. Don't question the reality of it. It's Donkey Kong. We just erupted a volcano with my fists. So here we go. So Donkey Kong's coming to an end. I have another series that I keep talking about. I might just spoil it if I start running out of topics to discuss. I don't know which direction that guy's going. If I run out of topics to discuss, but I do have another series planned. I kind of changed it from what I previously was going to do, so those previous hints I gave are... The previous hints I gave at it are not going to be true. I have a PC game because, you know, like I said before, I wanted to do some more PC games. This was a good chance to do one that kind of goes with the style. Oh my gosh. Also, notice how the game, when the game over screen, it's actually a question mark, not the Tiki boss of that world. So that either means there's no Tiki of this world, or we do not know who the Tiki is. So, yeah, so I am going to be doing a PC LP. It's, of a game I've heard a lot of positive things about. I think I would be interested in it. We'll see how I get into it. I'm probably going to start recording this weekend on it if I get around to it. It's a game I've been very interested in on playing. You guys will see it when I get to it. Also, I've been playing a little bit more of Rainbow Six recently. I kind of got out of the groove. Like I said, I was playing a lot of Metroid Prime. But now that I'm kind of back into it, I'm going to try to do some Rainbow Six post-commentary videos, because it's a game I would recommend to basically anyone who's kind of into action-y but still strategy games, because it requires a lot of thinking outside the box, thinking, fast reflexes, and they've recently added some new balance changes, which I'm very pleased by, so I may do a live commentary. I'm not necessarily a pro, so this stuff I would be talking about is not necessarily the be-all and end-all of Rainbow Six commentary or information. I'm not the Wikia page, but I would consider myself above average for... I'm smarter than the average bear, so... Ugh, jeez. These enemies are just the worst, and there's some situations where you can't even be able to blow them out with a normal stance, so it gets... Like this, for instance. You have to stand on one of the platforms it jumps onto, and you can't blow it at this distance. So you have to land onto one of these platforms and blow them from a distance. And sometimes the blowing mechanics, you can't just do it on impulse either. You have to like, kind of plan for them aiming for you, so you have to kind of shake earlier than you would think. Oh jeez, and then we have this wavy room, which I hate so much, because it's just like 50 flame enemies, plus like unpredictable moving patterns, plus an entire like wavy format, so it's like 5 different wavies in one. Swirly. I don't know, I'm not gonna duck that. This is actually one of the hardest levels in this world, I would say, because, at least in single player. Multiplayer is not too bad because you can respawn before those enemies spawn a second time. But, oh jeez, on single player it is just a pain to do. And then we have one of the, I don't know if it's no, it's not this level. It's one of the other levels, but it has some really evil Kong letters in it. And I somehow got the DK. Come on, I had 99 lives. Why you gotta give me balloons? Give me coins again. Get me back up to my 9. I want to get 999 by the end. There is an infinite coin grinding strategy and a good infinite grinding life strategy in this K level. This K level is actually like I said, one of the easiest, and I don't understand why it is, but it is. So why complain? A mirror mode though, oh jeez, it's one of the hardest levels in the game just because of one section, but if you ignore that section, it's actually kind of easy. So we just did Furious Fire, Hot Rocket. Ah, jeez, I'm probably going to be not doing much commentary on this because this is one of the most precise levels in the game. If you couldn't tell by the title, it's a rocket barrel level, and oh my gosh, it's just so darn, like, you have to be threading a needle with how exact you have to get that. Yeah, but now that DK is coming to an end, I'm wondering if any of you would be interested in... I want to do some more suggestions. I don't want to just do games out of the blue because, you know what, it's more fun when you get some community action in there, right? And if you guys are interested in me doing a specific type of game, or if there's a specific type of game you think I would like, specifically blind, I want to do more blind Let's Plays, and that's why this upcoming LP is going to be a little more blind. Because blind games are just so much more fun to record because instead of having to focus my commentary on something else, I can just talk about my reactions and meet immediate questions with the game and kind of react with the story. I mean, there's some games I think I could do good ones on, like Undertale. I wouldn't want to do a blinded video on that because, first off, I played Undertale, and second off, it's a game that's kind of... There's too many technicalities to how I would have to record a Let's Play of that. I don't want to open that can of worms. I don't really want to talk about Undertale because it's a game that I'm not a huge fan of. I understand why people like it, and I liked my first playthrough of the game, but everything beyond that, I really had no interest in it. Oh my gosh, that's the part that's just the worst. You have to weave in and out of those two fireballs to get lower so you can get a puzzle piece. And even if you don't weave in and out of them, it's pretty hard to get out of it, even if you go above the second fireball, because there's a ceiling right above you. So I may have to do several cuts until I get past that point, because that is one of the hardest points in the entire game. Okay, never mind. I guess I get it second try. Did not expect that. And here's the part of the level I'm kind of nervous about. That like I said, this is like one of the few ones where like there's so many like walls everywhere that's very difficult to avoid getting hit. It's, like I said, it's like threading a needle. It's very difficult. Oh, just barely skimmed your head, DK. Just duck your head a little lower. Come on. Okay, there we go. So now you don't have to worry about ceilings anymore, but now you have to deal with fire snakes. Just what? And their hitboxes they're not necessarily bad, but they're kind of wonky to understand. You see what I mean when we get to this area? Because, like, oh, jeez. This is, like, full-on memorization, the way you have to deal with this. I've never done this with... This is one of the only reasons I don't like this level, because it involves a lot of memorization. And even if you think you know what you're doing, it's sometimes just insanely evil the way you have to do it. And also, the hitbox for the lava is nowhere near as big as you think it is, so you could get kind of low with it and not get caught, like I did right there. So, you don't usually have to worry about getting hurt by the lava. Kind of weird, but that's why it is called Hot Rocket. So, oh, come on! I wanted to just do my burst combo. Just. Speaking of burst combo, I guess that kind of leads into Pokken, which came out recently. I haven't heard anything about it. I played a little bit of Pokken. I'm not a huge fan of it. I didn't play too much. I went over to a friend's house and it was interesting. It's a little unbalanced, I feel. I don't know. I have to play more of it to see my opinion on it. But if any of you guys have Pokken, would you actually like recommend it as like a fighting game, or more of just a fun to do with friends every once in a while game, kind of like Mario Party? Like I always do, I guess I can always do a wrap up on recent occurrences. So Batman v Superman came out, so I was talking about that in a previous video of like getting really annoyed at what Batman vs Superman was, and I made it pretty obvious that I didn't think it was going to be good. And I think I hit it right on the money. I hit it on, I think the movie could be fun, but I do not expect it to be nearly as good as Civil War is going to be, or even have a good story for the most part, because that's just the way Zack Snyder and those kinds of movies work. Civil War is going to be so good. Oh, I want to do more reviews. Like I said, I want to do movie reviews. I have some old game reviews that I want to do videos on. I still want to do a game review on Undertale. Like I said before, it's a game I have complex feelings on, which is why I would love to do I don't know, maybe more of an analysis styled video. I don't know if that's the right one I would want to use. Right word to use, analysis. Analysis kind of means I know what I'm talking about. This one's more of I'm expressing my own opinion of it. If you guys would be interested in seeing an Undertale video, I would be highly interested, because I have many positives and I have many negatives having to do with Undertale, but talking about the negatives is just gonna get me into a whole heap of trouble with fanboys, which fan peoples, whatever you want to call them. It's just, I'd rather not. Like I said before, I don't want to open that can of worms, because it goes back to the whole, if basically Undertale is the new FNAF. Only it's been more praised as being good than actually bad, because it's just been getting so much attention. It's just been getting more popular and more popular and more popular, and now Toby Fox is basically like the new Scott Cawthon and all that stuff. So it's interesting. I would say it's more, actually I would kind of correct myself. I would say it's more like the new Shovel Knight of this year. If you guys notice, there's always that one indie game that always gets like on the top of everyone's Game of the Year list. Like last year it was Shovel Knight, the year before that, or no, this year it's Undertale, and there should have been one before Shovel Knight. What was the indie game? I mean, I don't know when Binding of Isaac came out, but that gets one. Meat Boy gets one. Braid. There's a lot of indie games to discuss, and not a huge fan of indie games. I think some of them are good, but for the most part, I think they're just okay games. Like I said, a lot of people love Shovel Knight, and I just thought it was relatively okay. And then this kind of the same box of Also, I don't know if I mentioned this. A lot of people consider this the hardest level in the entire game, and I don't really understand why. Because I would say Hot Rocket is way, way harder than Roasting Rails. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, this is not judged by anything other than my own personal opinions. But considering this is one of my favorite games ever, I feel like I know what levels are going to be more easy to me and more easy to others. Like, Muncher Marathon, easy for me, but when I was first learning it, I knew it was a very difficult game, or difficult level to do. Yeah, like I was saying, I want to do a review on Undertale. I was originally going to do a review on my playthrough of Arkham Knight that I did, and I was going to do a review of that because I played the PC version. I know a lot. That's another can of worms. Just all the can of worms today. That's another kind of hot topic to discuss. Hot topic because we're in a volcano. Laugh at me, I'm funny. Yeah, it's kind of a difficult subject to talk about. Maybe I'll talk about it more next episode because I think we're on our limit. We're at about 19-ish minutes recording, maybe. Yeah, who knows. I'm not gonna have time to do another level. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this episode. So thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!